gotta get something. Can't move stones, the block hotter than a fresh baked muffin. Newspaper full of grieving mothers suffering. The loss of another youngin'. They made it seem big, but he really died over nothing. A few grams of coke, it wasn't his fault. Your old lady wanted to roll in the hay and get poked. Or that he stepped on your toes. Those your shoes. Anyway, you can go buy some more of those. A life lost is a life lost. Plus, this ain't the type of script that you could just toss. I want that black Porsche, y'all angry niggas. Put it on pause, I grind for this. I don't have to floss, I'm a plain nigga. Just watch me take off. Y'all mosquitoes can't get my blood, I just sprayed off. Smoke, smoke, and I'ma just twist that haze, spit that phrase, and get that pay. And you know this, yeah. And you know this, yeah. Smoke, and I'ma just twist that haze, spit that phrase, and get that pay. And you know this, yeah. And you know this. Smoke, 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 smoke. I give nothing but a beat. Pumps are up to get beat down.
One day when I was riding on the train, I seen these two kids talking about the Nubian rain had fallen. I didn't say nothing cause these kids caught my goat. Even pull my coat like a murder that they wrote. So this kid with mouth swagger now plays the cloak and dagger. So I got to show used to martial arts that I am. I could rock a jam, make the world drop hammer. Yes, I'm the bad man, and bad men were black. And if it comes to dropping bombs, hey, with that. Now I can freak, block, flow, rip up a party, dance all night, and at the end, call the party. You wanna got the style that was made for my mom and the band.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Tribute Tuesday, the great Brand Nubian classic track right here. The great Brand Nubian. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. As I mentioned in the first segment, man, it's a wrap. 4-0 as the Golden State Warriors dominated. Steph Curry, 36 points, and Golden State dominated San Antonio, beating them 129-115 Monday night, becoming the first team in league history to start the playoffs 12-0. Golden State led by as many as 22 points once again and cruising to their third straight NBA Finals. Durant had 29-12. Draymond had 16, 8, and 8. Manu Ginobili, who it may be his last game in the NBA, Manu Ginobili for the San Antonio Spurs finished with 15 points in 32 minutes. And real touching moment, I guess you could call it, as Popovich sent him to the bench, man. He got a standing ovation from the fans of San Antonio as well as the opposing players of Golden State, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to talk more about Manu here in a second. Kyle Anderson scored 20 points to lead the Spurs, who were without Tony Parker and David Lee. That's right, and Kawhi Leonard. Already mentioned that. Here's a quote. "It's the second time we've gotten swept in 15 years, and those are the easiest to digest because you've been overplayed." Manu Ginobili said, "The opponent was better than us, and in this case, way better than us." How about this quote? "Obviously, it stinks that Kawhi wasn't there and Tony wasn't there, David wasn't there," Green said. "But at the end of the day, a win is a win, and you have to beat whoever is out there against you." That's old Draymond Green talking about the San Antonio Spurs being, undermanned because of all the injuries. What your punk-ass teammate was the culprit of, was the instigator of, I guess you could say. Here's another quote. "Being 12-0 is great, but it doesn't mean anything going into the next series, and we understand that," Steph Curry said. The Golden State Warriors had won 5 straight games over San Antonio, including the regular season, which is the team's longest against the Spurs. Warriors starting center Zaza Pachulia missed his second straight game with the bruised right heel. Golden State has won 6 straight road games in the postseason, which is a franchise record. Ginobili had come off the bench in 55 straight playoff games prior to the start in Game 4. The Murray kid who I mentioned last night, man, played very good. He's a bright spot for San Antonio. 4 steals in the first half and tying Manu Ginobili's franchise record for most steals in a playoff game. Spurs 4, LaMarcus Aldridge continued to struggle. He had a couple of decent games in this series, but then last night, this is the guy that they brought in and was supposed to take the place of David Robinson as far as importance to that team and significance to that team. LaMarcus Aldridge, a disappointing series with his second 8-point effort against the Golden State Warriors in this playoff series. He entered Game 4 averaging 18 points, but was held to 4 for 11 shooting in 22 minutes of the series. And so another tough night from LaMarcus Aldridge. And I don't, his game, man, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, his game is so modern age, new ageist with his getting the ball like out on the perimeter. A lot of times he'll get on the block, but he doesn't really even play like an old school true center. And is he technically the center for San Antonio? I'm trying to think. I want to make sure. Yeah, he's technically the center for San Antonio. But it's kind of like he's a power forward, but he plays, I guess they list him maybe as a center, man. But his game is so finesse, and the little turnaround jumper, that's 90% of what he does. He doesn't really back anybody down and go in the paint and go hard to the basket like old school centers did. And the game is different. I understand that. The game has changed a lot in the way that they play it. It's more of an up and down, fast-paced basketball game, a lot more outside shooting, obviously, with the way these cats shoot the three-point shot these days. But it's just it's tough. I mean, this guy was expected to come into San Antonio and just do all of these great things and really, once again, step into that role, be the next big man after Tim Duncan and after David Robinson with that squad, and really cowered in these playoffs. Really didn't show like you would have thought, especially with the opportunity. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And I'm about to jump in the chat room in a second here and read some of these messages and try to understand the hate for Kobe Bryant. Stay tuned for that. But really, man, it's been a disappointment through these playoffs. So there you have it, man. The Golden State Warriors advanced to the NBA Finals once again for the 3rd year in a row in sweeping the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to be tough to beat in the finals, man. They're going to be real tough to beat in the finals. They're going to be real tough to beat in the finals, man. One last note on this game in the San Antonio Spurs, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. 4-time NBA champion with 2 All-Star appearances. Manu Ginobili is an unrestricted free agent, and it's unclear whether he'll be a Spur in 2017-18. Here's a quote from Manu. He says, I do feel like I can still play, but that's not what is going to make me retire or not. It's about how I feel. If I want to go through all that again, I felt like they wanted me to retire. Like they were giving me sort of a celebration night. And, of course, I'm getting closer and closer. There's no secret for sure. It's getting harder and harder, but I always said that I wanted to let it sink in for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, and then I will sit with my wife and see how it feels. One thing I like about, or I guess is different about Manu Ginobili and all of these international players, and I just railed about these international players a couple of days ago about how they play the game. Like they played a game instinctively, dirty, diving for people's legs, putting their foot under their landing spot, a la Zaza Pachulia, flopping and all of that craziness. One thing I will say, Manu Ginobili, man, I love watching Manu Ginobili. Real fun dude to watch. I really can't remember too many, dirty things that he's done in comparison to the international players, once again, that I talked about. He did do a little bit of flopping, but a small bit in relative terms to all of his cohorts. But not as much as, Vlade Divac and anybody like that. But Manu was fun to watch, man. I mean, he could do everything. Really more athletic than a lot of people probably would give him credit for. Would go to the basket, could shoot the three, even though it was a set shot. And real fun player to watch. And I don't know if he's going to come back next year. And I don't know if he probably should come back or not. I mean, I don't know about money. If a team wants to give him some money, he may still do it. But kind of feels like that's a wrap, that he's had his career. So you're talking about that big three in San Antonio with Tim Duncan already retired. Tony Parker, I think Tony Parker might come back another year or two, depending on how this injury. And a lot of times these athletes don't want to, they don't want to end their career on an injury. So I get that if Parker rehabs and comes back and plays another year or two, but clearly not the player that he was 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And then now Manu Ginobili. You always talk about the big threes in basketball. And this was a big three. As much as I hate to admit it being a Laker fan, man, them San Antonio Spurs for the last 15 years were probably one of the best NBA franchises and one of the best NBA teams collectively in history. You go back and look at all of the great different, years and eras of Celtics basketball. You can do the same thing for the Lakers. A bunch of great different eras. You had the Magic Johnson era. You had the Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant era. You had the Kobe Bryant era after Shaq or whatever, where they won a couple of rings. San Antonio over the last 15 years. And one thing, I compared them to the New England Patriots the other day. I never heard about them cheating like the New England Patriots, though. The San Antonio Spurs, man, did it at a high level for a long, long time. Got a lot of things to fall in their favor. Drafting Tony Parker. I don't think anybody thought Tony Parker would end up being the player that he had been. Same thing with Manu Ginobili. They kind of got two guys that were diamonds in the rough. And those guys, so both of those guys panned out. And then you talk about, being in position to draft Tim Duncan. And a lot of solid players. A lot of players. You talk about the Bruce Bowens of the world and the Greens of the world and all of the different, secondary players that they had on that organization for the last 15 years. One of the truly great runs in NBA history. What are your thoughts about the San Antonio Spurs? And it looks like the run that they've had is over now because Duncan's gone, not advancing this year. But a healthy Kawhi Leonard. The Murray kid is real fun to watch. LaMarcus Aldridge, maybe, he turns things around. I mean, they're poised to have another great run. But as far as right now, Golden State is the class of the West. Clearly. It's not even, questionable. The Golden State Warriors are the class of the West. And it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. But phenomenal run for the San Antonio Spurs and to Manu Ginobili. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. All right, so let me jump in this chat room and see what y'all saying about this Kobe Bryant thing. LD, I plead the fifth from the D. He says reasons not to like Kobe. He sued his own damn mama. Here's the thing, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and tell me if y'all follow me on this. Here's the thing. You have to separate. What I do is I separate Kobe Bryant, the player, and Kobe Bryant, the man. I do think Kobe Bryant, I agree with y'all 100%. I do agree with y'all that Kobe Bryant has some very feminine tendencies. I will say that. Yeah, I'll agree. But you know what it's almost like? It's almost like the way that you should look at it, man, is how I look at Lawrence Taylor on the football field and Lawrence Taylor off the football field. And how I always say, man, when you talk about these Hall of Fames, you got to talk about what the player did. You got to talk about what they did in that particular sport. Lawrence Taylor on the field, one of the greatest to ever do it. I mean, period. You can't even argue that. Lawrence Taylor off the field.